Alright guys, it's JB, and what it is I've decided I'm going to go do a few tutorials for you. So what I'm going to do is make a dubstep song, but I'm actually going to do it in installments. Like, this is going to be the beat, so instead of like other videos, they don't show you a lot. I've got my project set up, well, I've got the beat section done, that's set up and fine. So what I'm going to do is basically show you what I do to make a strong beat, and some important things that other videos miss out. So excuse me if I'm rushing. So we open up Logic, right? Notice here, all I've done is start at the bottom. We'll create an audio track in your project, and we're trying to make dubstep. So obviously I've gone into my iTunes, found a dubstep song that I want to make something similar to. Not that I'm copying it, it's just if I wanted to make something a bit softer, I might have chose this. But that's not the style that we're going for. So what I've actually done is dragged in something similar. It's another one of Subscape's tracks, if you recognise that one. So that's not peaking, which is good. We're going to try and make something to a similar volume as that. So now we know where we should be. We know what sound is coming out, and we know what level we should be getting out of it, so that's good. We'll start with this. Right, EXS24. Put your beats through this because it will save you time. If you think it's easier to drag audio in, you're wrong, because you're just going to make your computer do too much, get a load of overload messages and freeze up your project and waste a lot of your time. So what I've done is, my recent track, Ultrasound, I've just got a kit out of that and imported it into the sampler. So there it is, right there. Right, what I've done is, I've then made a beat, see here, this MIDI track. They're just all of the hi-hats, and then we've got a simple kick, snare, kind of rhythm. So I've got one main kick, one main snare, nothing layered, and three sort of lower kicks that kind of give it a bit of a, So here's the beat finished. So that sounds alright. So what you need to do now, something about the sampler. Forget all this, you've got your samples in it, Click Edit. This is how you would load your samples into the sampler. Here's the keys that they correspond to. And there's a load of settings on each sample, which mean, does it vary in pitch, or does it play the whole sample, or just while your finger's held down, stuff like that. What you need to do is, oh yeah, when you open the sampler, sorry I didn't say this, EXS24, you might have seen this and not known what multi-output means, but you need to select that. And multi-output just means when you look at your mixer, what was that? You get multiple outputs. So this little plus or star here will give you another output and another and another. And then if you look here, it tells you the outs of EXS24. That's EXS24 exits 3 and 4, exits 5 and 6, exits 7 and 8. Which means through one instance of EXS24, I can close that. I can actually send different sounds out to different channels and mix them differently, which is great when you're trying to save CPU, obviously. So go back into Edit, and all I've done is, we know that this is 2 to 3, 2 to 4, 5 to 6, whatever. So we just go down. After I've made the beat, we check what samples correspond with what. So we got the snare, which is on this key. So we click that, and it's this sample. You can see I've got it coming out of 3 and 4, which means it's going to come out of this track, and the same for the rest. So that's great. You can make really as many tracks as you want. I mean, you are limited because of your CPU again. I think it's something like 5 or 6 per one instance, but it's definitely worth doing. So yeah, we've got these coming out, which is great. Now I'm going to say something. I've got all the hi-hats coming out on there. If we have a look down here, they're not EQ'd, but if we click EQ, I'd always analyse when you EQ as well, and play, because then you can see. I mean, it doesn't really look like much is going on, but if we drag it down at the side here, look at all of this that we're getting. So just put a low cut on it, just drag it up to where it starts to affect the sound. So that's great. Now we know that nothing here is going to conflict with the bass, which is good. So we've got them fairly, nice and EQ'd, I'd say. I mean, if you want them a little bit brighter, you don't need it because they're quite bright anyway, but then I've got buses. The only thing I've got on the channel is an EQ. So bus 1 is a plugin called Camel Crusher, and a lot of you'll know it. It's just a distortion plugin, and I like the mech distortion. It just brings things out, and it doesn't just increase the voltage, it seems to add a little something to it, which I like. So we'll leave that there. And then bus 2, always a Space Designer. I've done a bus for the Space Designer, so you can get the same settings for every track, which is important because it holds the track together. I mean, if you've got different tracks and you're making different settings for Space Designer, then you're going to be in a world of trouble when it comes to listening to the spaces in it, because it's going to be a lot of clashing reverbs and things. I mean, unless that's the effect you're going for. So we got that. On here, what have we got coming out? We've just got the sub kicks coming out on this channel. I haven't done anything to them because they're pretty fine, but obviously, once again, just drag that not too low. There. 3, I've done quite a lot to. We want bass in the kick, but it's dubstep, so we don't want too much. So I've cut it there. Also, the snares hit at around 200, so we're going to give a little duck for that in case it clashes and it doesn't sound nice. Also, dubstep, bring out the top end of your kick, because that's going to bring it out in the mix, because what you lack in bottom, you make up for in top. So even if it's just a click, the brain's going to recognise that a kick is there, and that's going to tell the audience. So on the kick, I have compressed it. So after EQ, compression. What compression does in a nutshell is all the sounds that one sound consists of, like say you've got a kick, it's got all the frequency ranges. Some of the sounds within that kick might fall below a certain level, because obviously every sound that makes up that whole sound isn't going to be the same volume, but that's what compression does. So you're going to get a much punchier kick. It's like, I can't explain it. If you're playing a wind instrument, it'd be a good example. The hardness or the velocity that the player plays it at isn't going to be the same all the way through, because obviously human error. But if you compressed that afterwards, it would be, and it works with drums as well very well. So I've just put an R-type drum kit compressor on that, so that just brings out the punch in it. Obviously, send it to bus 1, which is my Camel Crusher, bus 2, which is my Space Designer, and then that brings it all together. And obviously, reference track, I'll just unmute. So yeah, that seems about the same level, give or take, but it's always going to be there so that we can keep referring back to it. And now you should have something that sounds like this. Nice little, yeah, that's cool, man. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and leave me any comments, anything to do with compression, any of the plugins I use, any EQ, anything I haven't mentioned. Just send me a comment, anything, and what I'll try and do is send you a video comment back, video response, and explain it in the same way that I've done this video. So yeah, if you need anything explaining, let me know, and if I haven't told you anything I should have done, let me know. Thanks a lot, don't forget to comment.